Am I in the frame? I just went all the way down to Santa Fe thinking I'd get my wisdom teeth removed today. And it was just a consultation. I have to wait another 2 weeks. Okay. So this is the idea for today. Ignore gist. That's an old idea. So we're looking at doing app ideas, working on those for the note-taking and scheduling app. And then we're gonna look at assignments and the forum tabs that I was doing yesterday on the Genius app. Hopefully we can get that done. And finally, buying stuff. That's not like actually buying stuff. That is adding in an economy to the Genius website. So, yeah. Hello. This is Corn from the future here, and it took me a long time. Like, that's a lot of content to do. Can you see that? Yeah, to do app ideas. So that's going to be today's vlog, and this is going to be changed to today, tomorrow, and the day after. That's not how you spell day. Day after. Don't judge my handwriting. Have a good day. Bye. And first idea is the note-taking app. Okay, it's gonna be called Paper. And okay, here we go. Here's the general idea. So there's this thing called My Script. Handwriting recognition. It's awesome. Notability, I believe, uses it. So you can scribble. Like, my handwriting's pretty bad, but you can scribble and it shows up as, well, it correctly determines what you've written, and it's writing that I probably couldn't even read myself if I left it a day. And the main issue with this is that you need to switch between math mode and text mode if you want to do math. And a lot of my apps are going to be around math note-taking because I obviously do a lot of that. So the idea is to have inline math rather than have to like click and want to write down math. So we're gonna have that. I want to have a side tab. So okay, SIDE. Can you see that? My marker runs out. It's gonna be sad. So I want to have a side tab that has flashcards, so you can automatically generate flashcards. And I'm wondering whether I should make the flashcard app integrated or make it a separate app. For performance, I should probably make it a second app, but we'll see what happens. So that was what Photonic is. It's a flashcard app. Don't know if I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I want to combine the Anki Wow, my marker is really not working. So I want to combine, that's a C, spaced repetition with a nice interface, like a Quizlet interface. And then I also want it to be able to import and export other apps from other apps like Quizlet. The side tab is also going to have, integration with the scheduling app, which is called Blockit. Blockit is a play on words of bucket, because the idea is that you have buckets during the day, and then when you get new tasks and people tell you, oh, you have this due on whatever day, you just throw it into the bucket, and then you do the organization later at a designated time so that you're not wasting time or like not focusing in class because you have to write down your homework, you know? So yeah, so Blockit integration, but how's that going to integrate with Paper? Well, Paper's a note-taking app. You're going to be using that during class. So you have homework, right? So it's going to have a direct link to your homework bucket. And I'll go over Blockit. That's going to be like the next app we're going to talk about. Also, this is not supposed to be there. Okay, so you have your homework bucket and you can just throw in, while you're taking notes, just click add homework, type it in, write it down, whatever, and organize later. So that's the idea. There's also going to be a generic bucket. Generic. Nice. See, that kind of handwriting would be recognized. Generic bucket where, I don't know if anyone has had this, but it's something I found where you're sitting in class or doing something totally unrelated and you remember a random thing that you needed to do, but you haven't written it down anywhere. And then if you don't have anywhere you can write it down, I used to write it down on the palm of my hand or somewhere where I wouldn't forget it again. But it would be useful to just have the generic bucket, and hopefully you can have app shortcuts. That we're going into the Blockit app, but app shortcuts that you can just tap and add a random thing that you just thought of. And then obviously the idea is you keep adding random things and fill up your bucket, and then you organize the bucket. And there's a whole productivity scheme behind Blockit. I also like having actual pages. That's why I called it Paper. I'm going to call it Paper, actual paper. So I want to simulate actual paper as close as possible, because if you... These are my math notes. But the idea with this was really, it gives you a finite amount of space, so it forces you to condense information. You write it down, you can structure it however you want. The only annoying thing was you can't select things and move them around. And obviously there's not as much integrations and features that technology would offer with Paper. Like infinite colored pens. As you can see, I did everything in black pen. Obviously I can bring other pens, but yeah, so I want to have actual paper. And there's another good thing about Paper is once you've done all these notes, you can just flick through them, and visually see everything. Like it's right in front of you. If you can spread it out like that across your room and see everything. Whereas with note-taking apps, I find they're always organized in a file structure, and you have to title your notes specifically, like whatever chapter it is. So while that's useful and it can be quick, when you're revising or you just want to see something you previously did, you don't want to like go through every single tab. It'd be good just to like scroll through maybe, or even flick through. So I want to add a feature where it's not just scrolling, but you can quickly just flick through everything. Yeah, so we want to replace paper as accurately as possible. While technology is good, the idea behind this is actual paper. That's kind of what makes it a bit different and more useful for me during college. So, yeah. And time to talk about Blockit. Tiny pen. Okay, Atomic Habits. Whoa, it's ink. Actually, I don't know who wrote it. It's in there, time blocking. It's like the new craze. It's where instead of having your calendar with lots of little tasks, random throughout the day, so that's your day, your timeline going throughout the day. Instead of having that, you add entire blocks. And that's why it's called time blocking. It's kind of simple. I wanted to take that a step further and add on side buckets. I told you what those are. And then you take stuff out from the bucket. Take stuff out from the bucket, and you can either make it a block. I'm calling those chunks. You'll see why. Or I'm gonna make a chore thinner to indicate that it takes less time. So it's either gonna be a chunk or a chore. So this is like an assignment. If your homework takes over 10 minutes, so let's make that greater than sign. Anything that takes more than 10 minutes, like your assignment, homework, whatever. And then, then a chore is doing the washing, something that's going to be about less than, is that a symbol? About less than 10 minutes. So you split those up, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to do this next part. So right now, what you can do is group chores into a chunk. So your chores are short tasks, but all together you can group them into a chunk. And that stops you from doing one chore. So your normal timeline would have like 7 chores spread out through the day because you're like, I don't want to do everything at once. Well, guess what? Doing everything at once saves you a lot of time, but you don't have to. But the idea is that you want to group all of your chores into a single chunk. You can just get everything done. Like, you allocate time for that, and you don't have chores popping up throughout your day. So we're simplifying everything as much as possible. Okay, and this next part, I'm a bit out of breath for some reason. So so the idea is to overblock time for tasks. So instead of the idea having like a small task in your big timeline, let's say this is breakfast, right? And then here you have lunch going on. This task that you think is going to take 30 minutes, right? You chuck it in right there, and you're like, I'm going to do it at this time. It's like a final thing. You're not going to do it at any other time. Well, yeah, that's probably not going to happen because your friends call, they want to hang out, you find something else. Maybe you have another task that you decided, I'm going to take 30 minutes to do my homework. Or probably an hour, I don't know. But maybe this takes 2 hours and you totally underestimated it and it cuts into this task. Well, you need to either be able to move around your tasks, or a better way to simplify it is say what margin you want this to be. So overblock your tasks. And then this is just going to fill out the rest of the space. And you just need to do homework within that space of time, and maybe your friends talk with you here. So you just shift it down and do it there, okay? So we're going to overblock out time. And I'll add features to make all of this very simple. And the next thing is, even if you overblock out time, what if your friends, so you were just lazy maybe, and you had time to start it here, and you got halfway through, you're nearly finished with this block, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do my homework at the last minute. Well, you shouldn't do that. I'm always going with the worst case scenario here. And if you do that, you're going to need time at the end of your day where it's catch up. So you're going to allocate, this is going to be a mandatory, there's always going to be a catch up block where you can catch up on tasks. It's pretty self-explanatory. But this catch up idea, it extrapolates into a bigger idea of what time is in your control. So this is what I want to start thinking about with my app, is that people have time that's not in their control, maybe from 9 a.m. to, 6 p.m., maybe 5 p.m. Around that time, it's a no-no. There's things are going to happen and your tasks are going to shift around during that time. But your catch-up needs to be in a time zone, hour or 2 hours during your day where you don't have anything, where you can be pretty certain that nobody's going to call up and ask you to come out and go bowling or something. Yeah, so with this is the utilizing controlled hours of your day plan. So you define the hours that are controlled. So those are your sleep hours whenever you're sleeping. Generally, not much is gonna annoy you while you're sleeping. And outside 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's like a general range that I've set. In the app, I'm gonna have people set their own ranges. And then, so you wanna fill those hours with important tasks, time-consuming tasks, and tasks requiring hyper-focusing. So you need to really focus on this task. And the common thing among those is that they're generally going to be your chunks. So remember chunks and chores. Your chunks are like your assignments, big things that you just need to get done, that are going to take a long time. Your chores are doing the laundry, cooking something. Actually, cooking would be a chunk because it takes a chunk out of your day. A chore would be things that you can clump together. So all of these, you want to probably use your controlled hours of your day for these things, because if it's like you can do your chores, laundry and stuff, at other times during the day, and it doesn't matter if someone tells you, oh, do you want to go and do this? You can shift these around easily and you're not going to fail any classes, or it's not really going to affect you that much. And then it comes down to the third step. Who decides like I want the app to help utilize your controlled hours to a maximum, but who decides? Because it should be the user, right, who fills the hours. But yeah, how would I make the app assist someone to do that? And it is now time to sit down and think again. I'll get back. Okay, so for who decides, I kind of came up with a general idea. So you want to fill it, you want to fill your controlled hours, CH, with blocks that repeat. So you probably want to have repetitious blocks. Also, blocks are these boxes, like the time ranges. That's a block, and then that's your chunk or your chore. So your chunks or your chores go within time ranges, and the time range is called your block because you block out your day into blocks, right? It's like a big tower of blocks, and that should fill your entire day, but your actual tasks don't need to fill your entire day. So having blocks that repeat in your controlled hours, so would make it like your routine hours. This is what you do every day because you can control that, and your routine is not going to change if it's in your controlled hours, so you can keep your routine going. So I think that's the best way to probably use controlled hours. And that would bring me to the final conclusion, sort of the Blockit app. So the final idea is to get feedback. Constantly, so throughout time. And some features may not be for everyone, so these will be implemented as plugins. And if you're the person that requested that feature and you want to maybe add it, you can, you know what, maybe we can have a plugin creator, like a plugin builder. So maybe you can build it yourself, or you can request it and the Rakugaki team's developers will like implement that plugin. I mean, yeah, that's a good idea. But also, I'm going to be using it. So I'm going to be using this app throughout college, and I expect to be very busy because I'm going to put a lot of work, a big workload on myself. And through personal experience, I'm hoping that I can gradually make all of these ideas, I can iron them out and turn it into the ultimate productivity scheduling app. So that, oh no, what did I do? It's fine, this is why I take videos. I can go back. So that